and welcome to the latest episode of the FQ Show. This is a special episode ahead of the FQPL Champions League Final between Edge Hill United and Redlands United. It's going to be an absolutely cracking match, and the way these teams have come to be for this competition, it's a chance for the state to come together and for us to really connect the pyramid across the state. Edge Hill, they faced off against MA Olympic very early on in the season as part of the Australia Cup competition, and they got through and then faced off against Across the Waves in the regional final down here in Brisbane at CTM Stadium a couple of weeks ago. They then now host the FQPL 1 premiers, Redlands United, who had a fantastic season, winning the double and earning promotion up into the NPL for 2023. This match, as I said, will be hosted by Edge Hill at Tiger Park. It's kicking off at 5 o'clock on the Saturday night. And I caught up, as part of this episode here, I caught up with Chris O'Hare and Charlie, from the assistant coach from Edge Hill, and also Graham Harvey and Sam Langley from Redlands. So we'll catch up with the Edge Hill boys now. Well, I'm joined here today by captain coach of Edge Hill United, Chris O'Hare, and the assistant coach in Charlie Beverly ahead of this weekend's match. So Chris, Charlie, how are we, lads?
Good, thanks.
Very well, thank you.
No worries. Chris, we'll start off with yourself. Just a bit of a sort of introduction, a bit of your story, and sort of how you came to join Edge Hill, and obviously a local legend in Cairns there, playing for the former NPL side up there, and now applying your trade at Edge Hill. Tell us a bit about your journey.
Yeah, first moved to Cairns back in 2010, and I've ended up here. And yeah, we had a few years where our NPL side, FQ Heat and Cairns FC, were reasonably successful over a period, and unfortunately, the NPL club is now defunct, and 2018 was our last year there, and I think there was a few of us in the same boat where we, probably at a stage in our careers where we weren't going to, move our lives again, maybe to Brisbane or Melbourne or Sydney or wherever for football. So we ended up in the local league, and I was approached by Edge Hill to take over the reins, and since then it's been a really good period, and over the last few years we've been really successful, and I've really enjoyed my time here, and not just playing a part of a good team, but building something as a club, and our success is not just down to our first team. It's we've had success in our women's and our juniors, and that's kind of what we're trying to build here, and a big part of that is, building our youth development, and the number of youth team players to come into our first team over the last couple of years has been excellent. And I think there's probably not going to be a better example of it for the weekend, where we're going to be calling on, 6 or 7 youth team players to help us out. So that's something I'm very proud of since I've been at the club, and hopefully for the future as well.
Yeah, fantastic. It's been great to see the performances of Edge Hill, and like you said, not just with the men's first team, but the women's, and also across the juniors as well. Edge Hill becoming a dominant force up in the north. Charlie, we'll head to you now. It's I believe your sort of first year at the club this year, after spending a bit of time in down south in Melbourne, and originating from the UK as well. Tell us a bit about yourself and what got you into coaching at Edge Hill.
So basically, I was playing in Melbourne for the last four and a half years, and then ended up doing my ACL again in November. So me and my partner decided to move back. Obviously wasn't going to spend another year down there not playing. So, it was the intentions to move back anyway, because we start a family, and, both of our families are up here. So anyway, I was talking to Chris, and I was going to end up playing for Edge Hill, but did my knee, and he said to me, we'd still like you to come down and be involved and take on the assistant coach role. So, I was very happy when he, gave me that opportunity. And to be fair, no, it's been a really fun season, seeing it from the other side of the white line. if I was to do an assistant coach role anywhere in Cairns, I think Edge Hill's the right place.
Yeah.
As a club, I think, the club's doing the right things in terms of, trying to be the best in the region and, try and replicate almost similar to like what an NPL club is run. Doing it very, in a professional manner and, striving to be the best always. So, yeah, what better environment? And obviously me and Chris are close mates and, there's some boys in the team who have played a lot of football with, back in the FNQ heat days. So, it makes it a fun environment at the same time, but obviously trying to strive for some trophies and hopefully we can get one more on the weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and great to hear that Edge Hill is providing not just an environment for players to thrive in, but for coaches as well, like yourself. That's really good to hear that a regional club like Edge Hill can offer stuff like that. So that's awesome. Chris, this season, the Australia Cup. Sorry, you had a great run last year, making it to the national stages in the round of 32. And you beat Mackay last year, but at Mackay, but unfortunately it wasn't to be this year. A tough match and no doubt disappointing. How did the team handle that loss after last year's success?
Look, obviously it was a disappointing result for us. We had a goal to obviously reach the 32 again, and we fell short. And I was actually happy enough with the way that we played against Mackay. I think we created maybe 17 or 18 chances, and it was one of those nights where it just wasn't going in for us. But we defended poorly, and Mackay are a good enough side to capitalise on that, and it ended up a cricket score. But no, look, still very proud of our efforts. I think people seem to forget, we're an amateur club. None of our players get paid. And, I think the standards we set ourselves, when we do have a loss, it seems to be a big deal. But we bounced back from that loss, and we had a bit of a spell there during the season where we lost a couple of games. And, I think the general consensus was around here that, the wheels were falling off after a great few years. And, I was always confident we could come back and win the league, and we managed to do that. And for us, that's always the main goal. And we won the league, and unfortunately we fell short of winning the grand final again, and we fell short of the Craig Evans as well on the weekend. But look, we pride ourselves on being a good squad, not just a good 11, and we're certainly going to need all of our squad members on the weekend if we're going to get anything out of this game against Redlands.
Yeah. Just on the Australia Cup or the FFA Cup run back then last year, making the round of 32, great achievement for Edge Hill and coming up against Gold Coast Knights. What was that experience like, and playing back there at the Cairns Stadium?
Yeah, it was great. It's you kind of forgot, I think, after a few years not playing against NPL opposition, and playing at Barlow Park, it's probably the best venue in Queensland. The surface is immaculate and the facilities are great, and it was a great night, and we certainly did ourselves proud. We lost 2-0 on the night. It was a last minute goal on the break, and to break the deadlock was a dodgy penalty, which we're used to up here. So look, it was a great night, and as I say, we weren't just representing our own club; we were representing the far north. And I think the biggest disappointment from the NPL losing is that our younger players from around the region are forced to move to Brisbane or down south to follow their football. And when we were in the NPL, we were always competitive on the pitch, and it was probably just the way the club was run, which was why it wasn't successful and why it's no longer here. So, I think it was great to be able to, showcase the talent in Cairns again. And there was a number of younger players that played in that game and did really well. And, we were able to push Gold Coast Knights, who were, top 3 or top 4 in that league last year, and playing against guys that, have caps for Australia, and, we competed really well. So it was a great night, but at the same time, we were disappointed to lose, and but it's all part of that journey.
Absolutely. Charlie, Chris touched on it before, but had a bit of a roller coaster of a year. Obviously, the high of winning the premiership, but a few disappointing moments. Craig Evans and the grand final, and a few, a bit of a rough patch at the start there. What does it take to sort of get the team through that, and how was, like, I suppose, your impact from a coaching perspective on that season, and just how would you describe the season that you had?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a funny one, really. Obviously, being in Melbourne, I've followed Edge Hill's success over the last 4 years since Chris has taken over, and they've been so dominant and clearly the best team in the far north. And seeing them on the national stage last year, it was really interesting, and followed it. And they, as Chris said, they did the region proud. So, coming in this year, I spoke to Chris, and one of my roles was just to, give my experience, especially as I'm a defender, try to give that to our backline. One of the challenges as an amateur team, me and Chris spoke about it. We haven't had the same 11 in two consecutive games this season. Wow. So, but that's no fault to the players. Obviously, they've got to live their lives and work commitments and holidays. Whereas in the NPL, you probably don't allow players to go on holidays when they want, but and work commitments. So, trying to add my experience from obviously playing, and trying to be if someone wants to come for a bit of advice, just be there to give them any advice they need. And it's been really fun, and can't wait for this weekend.
Yeah, nice. Chris, we'll head back to you now. You came down to Brisbane a week or so ago, and you were watching as the boys played across the waves at CTM Stadium there, playing against the high quality opposition from the NPL and FQPL, a chance to showcase a lot of the talent that you guys have up there. Are you looking forward to the challenge of playing against Redlands United, a team who won the premiership in the FQPL 1? And what sort of opportunities will that present for the boys?
Yeah, of course, it's a great opportunity, not just for the club to showcase what we're about, but individually, younger players that want to put themselves out there. And I think on the weekend there, we finished the game against MA Olympic with I think 5 or 6 players under the age of 18. And again, that's what we want to try and keep doing, and giving our younger guys opportunities. And obviously they're getting that opportunity because of disciplinary issues, but whatever way it comes about, those younger guys will step up. And I can't wait for I'll be back this week and get the chance to play against Redlands again. And we played against them back in the NPL days, and we actually lost a grand final to them. I think it was 2016 or
I was going to bring that up, yes.
Don't bring it up with Kev. He's still having nightmares about it. But look, it's great. It's a great competition. The Football Queensland have brought in, and to give regional teams a chance to be able to do this. It's fantastic, and we're certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it was about. And you jumped forward and touched on that final there. But no doubt it's a possible flashback to that. But fantastic stuff. Glad to hear that you'll be back on the park this week. Looking forward to seeing you in action. Charlie, the boys they've played a lot of football this year. Had your Craig Evans final on the weekend just gone. The grand final the week before that. Extra Oz Cup games as well in there. How are the boys feeling? Pretty drained, kind of like late into the season. We're in October now and still playing football. But how is the mood and the vibe in the group there?
Yeah, obviously, coming in after we've had a grand final loss and a Craig Evans loss, but there's still a lot to play for. And the job of Chris and I is to get the players spirits back up and running on the first session on a Tuesday. So we always reflect on the games and address points that, which we didn't do so well, but also address points that we did well. It's about bouncing back really the next week. And that's the best thing about football, is always another game. So, yesterday was another good session where we called up a lot of youth players and reserves players, because we still don't know who we're going to have available for this weekend. So, there's a lot of spots up for grabs, and training last night was very competitive again, which was good to see. And as Chris said, it's about bringing the young boys, especially from the youth team, they could get an opportunity. And it's good to see that we do have the depth right the way through the club, and can call upon players when we need.
Yeah, well, that's really great to hear, and hopefully it makes for a fantastic game against Redlands United. Getting them at your home on the home track at Tiger Park there this Saturday at 5 o'clock. Game will be streamed as well, so viewers down here in Brisbane can tune into that. Hopefully, you boys get a good local showing as well to some high-level opposition. You're looking forward to having the crowd behind you there at Tiger Park.
Yeah, we've got a lot of fans up here. So I think a lot will turn out, especially from the club and other clubs. They seem to support us very well. So I'm sure there'll be a big turnout.
Yeah, fantastic to hear. All right, well, thank you very much to the both of you for your time tonight. I wish you all the best for the game on Saturday, and hopefully a strong showing from the powerhouses up north.
Thank you very much,
mate. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you, boys. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Well, I'm joined here this evening by Redlands duo Sam Langley, the captain of the side, and also the coach and TD, Graham Harvey, tonight. Gents, how are we?
Good, thanks, mate.
Yep, very well.
That's the way. Good to hear. Sam, we'll just get started with yourself there. It's always a pleasure when you go to look up a player and their playing history, and you see nothing but one club next to their name, and that's obviously the case with you, being at Redlands for a very long time. How has that journey been, coming right up through the under 18s and into the first team, and now being an integral part of the team?
Yeah, well, it's been a long journey. Ever since I was 18, 19, I've always wanted to sort of be the captain of the team and everything like that. So, but coming through the ranks, obviously, years ago, it was pretty tough. Many good players around the club. But now it's I can see juniors coming through now that I've sort of coached, and, it's nice to play with them and be a captain as well.
Yeah, that's surely a fantastic feeling to be able to experience that, to help foster that success with them. So I suppose, what does it mean for you to help lead your club to such success as you have done this year?
Yeah, I get a lot of help from the boys, Gabs and Dylan, and obviously Graham. It's with such a good group and such a good group of boys around us, it's quite easy. Everyone's very, very humble. So, we've got a very good group, so it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, fantastic. And Graham, you've got an incredible coaching CV that has, a great new addition to it as well. Recently announced as the assistant coach to Warren Moon for the Brisbane Roar for the upcoming A-League season. You've spent time at Brisbane Strikers with Sunday Miners up in the QSL. Obviously, spent time at Pride and won them the grand final in 2017, and as well as some various clubs in Asia. Just sort of, I suppose, describe your coaching journey for us, and what have been some career highlights for you?
Yeah, it just make me sound like a wandering nomad, don't you? I've been pretty fortunate to step into some coaching roles where I managed to work at some good clubs with some good people in Australia. Obviously, started up at Sunday Miners. Managed to get to the old QSL grand final with those guys up there, which was a great achievement for the town and for some people behind the scenes there. Yeah, came down, did Brisbane Strikers for a year, and then I went home to the UK to study at Loughborough, and managed to work in some academies back home at Rotherham, and did some education at Leicester there. So I managed to work within the Premier League system, which was a really good learning curve for me. And then, returned back to Australia at Western Pride. Had 3 good years at Pride. Obviously, picked up where Kyle Dodd left off with a young side, and managed to develop them into a winning side. And pleasing thing for me now is there's a lot of those boys are playing in the A-League, like with Dan Halls and Parsons, Dylan. So that's quite nice to see. So that's probably one of my career highlights, to be fair, just to see other young lads living the dream of playing professional football. Had a spell in Asia, went over to Hong Kong, coached in the Hong Kong Premier League, and then went across to the Chinese women's national team, which was really good fun. That's probably a career highlight there as well. Just to work in a major international tournament, probably work for a federation that resources weren't an issue, to be honest. So yeah, that was quite nice to work at a club where you didn't have to look over your shoulder and count the pennies all the time. Yeah, came back to Australia. The Redlands job was a good one for me with my family situation. Yeah, and had 3 years there. And the good thing that the club's always allowed me to do is still have those opportunities overseas when they've come up. And I was lucky enough last year to do the Asian Champions League with Kaya with the Philippines and get to the group stage there, beating Shanghai. So yeah, that's probably another career highlight. And then, yeah, took over as the head coach. Didn't really want to, but I did. And then yeah, this year, I'll be honest, I definitely didn't want to coach this year, but I wanted to do the right thing by the football club. They've been very good to me off the field, not only with the opportunities they've given me to coach, but some situations last year with my mum back in the UK. So yeah, I wanted to do right by them and do right by the lads because of this group of lads that we've had the last 18 months to 2 years, many of whom Richard brought to the club. I think are dead honest lads and deserve the best that we can give them. So yeah, been a really enjoyable season. So yeah, this last sort of 4 or 5 weeks winning the double, yeah, it's probably been right up there as well.
That's really awesome and super interesting. A really interesting journey. I didn't know about a few of those. So yeah, it's fantastic to hear. I'm sure there are plenty of stories from that, and good to hear that speak so highly of Redlands. Also, Coach of the Year this year. Congratulations on a good achievement there. How does that feel to just I suppose to add an accolade to after your hard work over the years?
At the club that are fantastic. They let you get on and do your job as long as you do it properly. There's no issues, which probably didn't have when I first came to the club. So I'm really thankful that I've got guys that support us, and then I've got the lads that are great to work with, and I've been really fortunate that the two guys that help coach Griff and John. I mean, they're both probably head coaches in their own right. Griff's a good young coach that will get there, and John's been around. John coached me and Mackay, so had a really good team that I've been able to fall back on. And there's no secret at the club. The last 5-6 weeks of the season, John and Griff took the majority of the sessions. So it's whilst you get a personal award, like my feet are on the ground. I know that John and Griff have played a big part in that as well. Yeah,
no, so good to give them some wider recognition there. So that's fantastic. Sam, a great season for Redlands. Obviously, winning the double, as Graham said there, and I suppose most importantly for your group, earning promotion back into the NPL after a disappointing season last year. How does that feel for yourself and for the group, and what does that mean for the club?
Yeah, well, I mean, after last year, it was heartbreaking. We did so well at the back end of the season. Obviously, he took over, and obviously some personal issues came up. But then John and Griff came through again. But yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking to lose that final game to Capalaba. But we all knew if we stuck together and came back in the next year and just worked as hard as possible. Obviously, it's a bit of a different league, and there's a few different players and everything like that. But I think if we just got together, and we all knew we had the squad to do it, so it just came down to all the boys sticking together, coaching right, and yeah, we all just stuck together. Really, that was basically it.
Yeah, nice. Was there any moment in the season that really sort of stands out to you as a big highlight?
Oh, there was a few. Probably the best game of the year I probably didn't even play. I thought it was the Toowoomba game at home. The boys played really well. I didn't even play in that. I thought the boys run really. Even up at the sunny coast when we went up there, I didn't play again. To get the promotion, I thought they were awesome up there. So there's been heaps across the year, but yeah, probably the grand final was the biggest one. Was definitely get that for sure.
Yeah, that was. Did you play that? It was quite a game. You did play that one. That grand final, and the perspective that you would have seen it through. Obviously going down 2 goals to nil just before half time, but then revving the boys up and getting them ready for the challenge, coming out guns blazing in the second half. I did walk past the change room and heard some motivational tactics there to get the boys ready to go. What was it like to see them really respond to that and to get over the line there?
Yeah, look, really pleasing. To be fair, I think that's one of the big things that has been good about the boys this year. Haven't had too many moments across the year where I've had to choose my words carefully with them. They've been pretty consistent, and I just felt in that game, certainly the first half an hour, I didn't think we were great, but I didn't think like Rochdale were on top or anything. I thought it was a fairly even game, and it was just pretty disappointing for the lads to be in 2-0 with two sort of defensive mistakes. So it was frustrating. Obviously, in my eyes, had to make a change tactically to try and get back into the game and just to sort of build a bit of a platform. So made a substitution, which was pretty harsh on Riotta. That was probably one, had to take one for the team, really. Yeah, and then look, to be honest, I think Rochdale obviously gave us the first goal, but that just gave us the momentum we needed. I did think in the second half before the goal, we had just started to get on top. The shape change there at the end, yeah, I think really just allowed us to get extra bodies forward, which obviously how we managed to nick a couple of goals. I think that was when you were off, Langers.
I'll come off. Goals go in, mate.
Yeah. So our best performance is when you're off, is what you're saying. Good. Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, fantastic to see. It was an absolute ripper game, and really just set the tone for what was a great night to follow. So, Sam, we'll look ahead at the game this weekend, playing Edge Hill, a powerhouse up in the northern region, playing out of Cairns. A fantastic away day for you, and something right at the end of the season, which I'm sure the boys are keen for. How are the boys sort of tracking? Like, you haven't played, I suppose, football for a while. The season's been done a couple of weeks now, but you're getting together and heading up for the game. How are you boys feeling? And I suppose, what element of this game are you looking forward to the most?
Well, G sprang it on us at the end of the season that we still have a game left, so trained for another 5 weeks when everyone was ready to go on holiday. But I mean, for the boys that wanted to stay training and everything like that, it's not really anything different. I mean, it's just training. So it's in the middle of the week. We're not doing anything, so we may as well stay fit for next season. But Edge Hill, I know a few of the boys up there that are playing up there. They're going to be good players. Boys that have played for Finals Queensland Heat. They're going to get a strong crowd out there. Cairns is always tough to go out to. It'd be nice and hot as well. But we're training hard. Trained hard this week, and we've got another training session tomorrow night before we go up. So all the boys are ready. So, and we want to get another trophy. So hopefully there's no stopping us. Yeah, so it's an extra baggage on the flight home. How does this sort of game as well help strengthen the squad for next year? Obviously, you're promoted and heading into the NPL, and hopefully wanting to keep a good amount of the core together as well, as you did from last season. Like, I'm assuming a game like this will really, really help with that. Yeah, for sure. I think the core of the group is really good. We're a really tight group. There's definitely a few additions we can make. Obviously, going into the NPL, it's going to be a different competition. A very good competition next year. So I think we just need to add a few players, but we all just need to stay grounded and just work together. And obviously, G's going to be around, so I don't think we're going to get out of shape too much. Yeah. Well, Graham, unfortunately, you're not making the trek up to Cairns, but you will be pitch side at Suncorp Stadium helping Warren Moon as the assistant coach. Just a quick little sort of tidbit on that. But how are you feeling ahead of this the season launch against Macarthur FC? And obviously good to be back at Suncorp Stadium with the Brisbane Roar.
Yeah, look, from a club perspective, great to be back at Suncorp. It's obviously been the scene of some of the club's greatest moments. So yeah, it's been really nice. We managed to get a session there last week, and then we've got a session there this week as well. So yeah, it's an amazing stadium to be playing our football at. Yeah, for me personally, it's just great to be involved in the A-League. I'm keen for the longest pre-season in the world to be over and just get down to the league games and going game to game. We've been pretty fortunate. We've had a decent cup run. Obviously fell over at the semi-final, which was really disappointing, but those competitive fixtures have been really useful for us as a group. So yeah, looking forward to Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the season. There's plenty of some good young players in that side from the NPL and that as well, which is a chance to see. So, but equally, I'm excited to see the FQPL Champions League grand final come to its conclusion there. A fantastic opportunity to really kind of complete the pyramid from the top of the state to the bottom, and it'll be a fantastic game. I hope and I know between yourselves and Edge Hill. That game's obviously 5:00 this Saturday. Are you going to have the phone on the sideline watching the stream there, Graham, or
I'll definitely be watching the second half.
He's too good for us now.
Well, thank you very much to the two of you for joining me tonight, especially a little bit of short notice as well. But I appreciate the time you've given here, and I wish you all the best for both your respective matches ahead of the weekend. And all the best. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for watching this special episode of the FQ Show. Make sure you tune into FQ TV, where we will be live streaming the match that is up in Cairns at 5:00 on Saturday night. It's sure to be an absolute ripper, and do not want to miss it. Tune in and stay tuned into our social channels as well for all updates on the game if you can't catch the screen. See you later.